person is stopped for a traffic violation, it should not end up in a death sentence.
It doesn't matter that I'm a Penn alum or a Yale alum. It doesn't matter that I'm a loving father of two. It doesn't matter that I'm a U.S. citizen. None of that protects me. My blackness is the trigger.
A call to reimagine policing and traffic enforcement as more communities grapple with how to prevent traffic stops from turning into tragedies.
Very thoughtful piece about being Black in America, and particularly being a Black male in America in certain environments. I believe this is in Philadelphia, in which the police force has a very antagonistic and aggressive approach to all of its citizens, in particular its Black citizens. What was great about this piece was that it was both worked at a very human level with Isaiah, I believe, and his life, what his personal experiences, and even going down to his own son and what he imagines his son might have to deal with, up to sort of the community aspect of him working with the youth and him literally trying to get into Congress, get into his local legislature, I believe, and pass initiatives and try to create laws that can change dynamics and make the environment more safe for him and his community and his child in particular. This was just a well done piece all the way around in terms of both social justice and in terms of just the basic humanity of all people.
They presented the information in such a succinct and clear-cut way, and it was really engaging to watch from beginning to end. We got to hear from actual members of the community. What really stuck with me was, the I think maybe it was like a camp that they did with the young Black boys, and, just asking them, have you had the talk with your parents? Have they talked to you about how to respond or how to react in a situation with a police officer? And the fact that there's 5- and 6-year-old boys raising their hands saying, keep your hands on the dash, be respectful, move slowly, mind your business. It's heartbreaking, and it's a very heartbreaking reality that parents have to do with their young Black children. The statistics that came out that the police themselves collected was not surprising, but very eye-opening. The fact that Black drivers are twice as likely to be pulled over, twice as likely to be searched, 35% less likely to have illegal drugs or weapons. I mean, it tells a pretty clear-cut story, and it's not a happy one. So I'm very glad that this initiative was put together and was passed. Very surprised by the couple of nays that were in the vote, but it looks like they're on a really good path, and that other cities are looking to adopt it as well and incorporate it into their own policing. So I felt like it had a happy story. Unfortunately, there was some pushback, and some people are trying to sue the city in order to stop this bill, but overall a very happy story. And it's so good to know that there are still people in the government who are fighting for people on the ground, who are fighting for equal rights for everybody.
Was very powerful. And the reason I say that is because this is a message that I relate to heavily, because I have experienced the same fear of the police. And I've personally had my own experiences where there's a disconnect with some of my friends where they can't understand why that tension is there. When I see the police, I see a potential end to my life. I see someone who, if I give them a reason, will kill me. Or for lack of a better word, they will stop at nothing to protect my friends from people like me. That's been a cultural issue that's been going on for a long time. Not even probably, definitely even before I was born, and it's an issue that still continues today. And the question is always, how do we deal with the tension between African Americans and the police? Because it's reached the point of stereotype, where the stereotype is that law enforcement don't like black people. And I loved the message that this was trying to get across, while Stepping Stones just never does it say that everyone is a saint. Yes, there are a few bad eggs, but we can't look at the race itself and say that's the problem. I agree with the method that in order to protect people, transparency is everything.
Super clear, super solid. Legislation is not usually something that is really easy to follow, and I was right along there with them in this. They made everything super easy to understand. The steps were clear. Isaiah Thomas is obviously very charismatic and very well spoken, of course. He's someone that you're rooting for throughout this documentary. He uses logic, he uses statistics, he uses facts, and he gets you on his side pretty quickly. When he ends up getting his bill passed, you're right along there with his team. Like, I wanted to fist pump for him. It was a great ending to the documentary. This film does a great job of getting its message across and raising awareness for the huge amount of unnecessary traffic stops that Black Americans have to experience, and how that can lead to very dangerous escalation for them. And I like how he's saying that people against his bill were afraid of criminal activity running rampant, but in fact they were trying to stop the criminal activity on the other side of the badge. I thought just the way that he spoke was really powerful. And in the end, when the bill passes and they're celebrating, I just thought that it was super powerful when one of his team members was just like, okay, what's next? And it really, brought that message across that we're never done. There's always things to be changed. Maybe they changed this in Philadelphia, but we still have to, the rest of the United States needs to follow suit. So it did a great job of raising awareness and laying out the facts for people who maybe had a different opinion going into this documentary.
I thought that this was a really solid documentary. The themes throughout it were very clear, as were the ideas and its central message. The subjects of the film I thought were very likable, very watchable. Their intentions and motivations and the reasoning behind those things were clear right from the beginning. So it was easy to watch along with them and see how they take these plans and ideas and try to put them into action. The central conflict of the film is set up quite clearly. It goes through a nice progression over the course of the film. And overall, I think this one just succeeds on account of its clarity. It's good pacing. It moves pretty quickly. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And it's also very relevant, both socially and politically. This is a conversation that's still going on in the United States in all sorts of different places and capacities. So I think that the film is succeeding on that basis as well. Overall, I felt that this was very good, well done, well put together, very clear, very watchable.
Look at the police brutality amongst Black people across the country. And, very wholesome documentary. Great transitions. And there's interviews with different Black men that are facing that problem. But also get context with other people that were killed, Black people that were killed in police brutality. So overall, it was a well done documentary.
Isaiah Thomas is one of the few politicians that we should all actually admire and want to elect. He's one of the few politicians that actually has a good heart. he got into it to make change, which is something you can't say about a lot of politicians. As a councilman, he knew what he wanted, and he went after it to make a change within the community and succeeded. It makes him a very admirable man. He worked very hard to find the middle ground when he was making his bill. He didn't want to vilify the police. He knew there was an issue that needed to be made, and he didn't want to make it where the police were the bad guys, but knew that something had to be changed when black people were being pulled over and potentially harmed. The groundwork he did was amazing. The fact that he wouldn't take no for an answer. He really is someone that you could see why he was elected as councilman.